Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are talking about the Chanel Palette Essentielle. This is number 160 in Medium Beige. So in order to talk about this palette today, I thought we would walk through it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the concealer, the blush, and the highlighter throughout the video. So this palette came out a couple years ago. I want to say maybe 2 years ago. And I have been on the fence about trying it out and buying it this entire time. When I first saw this palette, I did not think that this screamed Chanel. I didn't think that this looked like classic Chanel, but now I'm realizing that this is Lucia Pica. She is the new creative director of makeup. I think that's what her title is, but she's basically the head creator and inventor, I guess, of Chanel makeup. So it does make sense that this doesn't look like Chanel in my mind, because Lucia Pica is like this new breath of freshness or new blood in Chanel makeup. So it does make sense that she would come out with something different. There are 6 shades available to choose from, I believe. So this palette comes in 5 different shades available on the Chanel Canada website. I think on the US one I saw 6. This retails for $85 Canadian plus tax. So I think the reason that I hesitated trying this out is because this is marketed as the essential palette. It has your concealer, your blush, and your highlighter. It has everything. I already have everything. I have more than everything. I have more than I could ever use. But I still keep trying new products. But I don't know why this one in particular, I hesitated for so long, because when something is marketed as like the only thing you'll ever need, I'm like, well, I'm past that point in my makeup collection. You know, that's not really a selling point for me. However, I do see the appeal in as far as traveling goes, because you do have everything that you could want. You know, you have your concealer, your blush, and also your cream highlighter. So I think that was one of the reasons why I hesitated for so long. And also, I wasn't convinced that one like pre-packaged palette like this would have every shade suited to my skin tone. As far as the concealer, the blush, and the highlighter, you know, sometimes you can't mix and match the blush with this highlighter and this concealer. You really have to pick one palette that's like pre-made. So those were all the things that made me hesitate for so long. I know a lot of you guys have tried it. A lot of you guys have asked me about this. And I don't know, I just figured I might as well just try it, because every time I went to the counter, anytime I went to any counter, I would always look at it. I would always pick it up. I would always play with it. I would always touch it. I was always curious. So I was like, you know what? I might as well just give it a shot. So let's go ahead and use this right now. I'm going to go ahead and dip into the concealer. Now in store and in a lot of videos that I've seen, they use this little brush, like this 2-sided brush to apply the concealer. Personally, I have found the best luck applying this with my finger. I tried applying it with a damp sponge. I didn't love the result with this texture. I've also tried using with my own concealer brush. I have these 2 types of concealer brush that I use off and on with different texture concealers. I think I'm very stubborn. Well, I know I'm very stubborn, but one thing I don't like when there's a new release is that if they say, you know, this concealer only works if you use this brush with it. In my opinion, if I buy something, it should work complementary to everything that I already have, considering that I have quite the extensive collection to begin with. I have my iced coffee here on the side. I've decided it's iced coffee season. Winter is still here. Spring is not yet arrived, but maybe I can just like will it to happen if I just start drinking iced coffee early. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dip into the concealer here. Actually, before I use them, I'll just go ahead and give you guys some swatches of the cream products here. So here we have the blush, the concealer, and the highlighter. Now let's see how it actually wears. Now onto the blush. Now the blush is extremely pigmented. I made the mistake when I first applied it to apply too much. This is very dark, and a little bit goes a very long way. So when applying any cream blush, I find it's best to go in with one finger to apply and then a separate clean finger to blend out. I just took my hair down. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use the cream highlighter. So as you can see, the cream highlighter is very natural. It's not super blinding, but it still gives you that pretty luminosity. As far as the textures in the pan, I think that the cream highlighter is the softest because I used the same amount of pressure with a ring finger to dab into these three colors. And as you can see, the cream highlighter looks lifted. As soon as I would put my finger in, a little bit would come out. So it looks to be the most soft and also maybe the most fragile. I do like the concealer. I was honestly impressed that I was able to find a concealer, a highlighter, and a blush that would flatter my skin tone. I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was possible to make a product so universal for so many different people, but it does work. It is definitely like more of a berry blush. That's why I went with the darker lip. I do think that the concealer is a bit more on the drier side in texture and both in wear on the eye. There wasn't like significant creasing, but there was a little bit. One thing that was nice though is that since it's a bit of a drier texture, if you do have creasing, you can just kind of like sweep through or like pat on the eye to get rid of them. Because I find sometimes when the consistency is too creamy, it almost like doesn't dry down. But this was fine. I just think that maybe if you have drier under eye, you should test this out in store because you might not be a huge fan of it. I do wish that the highlighter in the palette was a bit more blinding. You can go and like add more. But one thing that I found is if I try to use a blush brush or a highlighter brush, I feel like I'm picking up the foundation underneath. Like as I'm applying the blush or highlighter with an actual brush, it feels like I'm shifting the foundation underneath. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that with this product here. So that's why I go in with my fingers, because otherwise I find that like I just end up messing up what I've already done. I think in order for you to love the palette, you kind of have to love the texture of every single product and every single shade and like how they wear on your skin. So overall, this product is not a love for me. I'm glad that I finally gave it a try and tested it out, but I don't know, like it's not my favorite concealer, it's not my favorite blush, and it's not my favorite highlighter either. All three of them do work well together and they do look pretty, but this is not the item that I reach for the most. Like I said, I have quite an extensive collection, so I am not lacking in either concealer, blush, or highlighter. I have quite a variety. Although I do say that this is convenient for travel. You don't have to pack much. You can just throw this in your suitcase or in your carry-on bag and then you have makeup with you. That is convenient. And also if you are someone who does not have an extensive makeup collection, maybe you would appreciate this a bit more. I'm glad that I gave it a try, but I would not recommend it that much. I don't know, like if you love it, if you love the textures, if you want to try it on store, I strongly recommend that you do. But this is not an item that I think that everyone should have. I know they call it the essential palette, but I don't know. I don't know if it's really that essential. Also, something that I've noticed is that on the videos that I've seen on Instagram and also on YouTube about like Chanel, like fashion runway, makeup looks, etc., they are always using these palettes here, the Palette Essentielle, but they're often mixing and matching different shades. Like they're going to go into one highlighter and then one blush, and sometimes they use some on the eyes as well, but they're always like mixing and matching. Like they always have like all of them laid out on the table and they're always like dipping into one and the other. And I don't think most people would buy more than one. Anyway, that was just a thing that I wanted to mention. That is my video for you guys for today. These are my thoughts on the Palette Essentielle. I am excited for some new releases from Chanel. I think they have the new Medium Beige coming out. I am excited to try some of those products. I also saw some new nail polishes that I want to test out as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Let me know if you have the Palette Essentielle at home. Let me know. Please make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell on the side so you can know whenever I post a new video. And that's all I have for you guys for today. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.